April 3rd, 2018, I faced the most difficult time of my life. I had encountered many other difficult situations, such as when I was 3 years into my marriage, my mother-in-law was killed in an auto accident with a tractor trailer 50 feet from our house. 5 months later, my father-in-law passed away from a heart attack. We then experienced what I had thought was going to be the hardest thing for our family to go through, and that was my husband having a stroke at 46 years old, with 2 young children at home. He had to learn to talk and walk again, and this was difficult. We did not know why we were facing so many struggles, and having faith was all we could hold on to. 6 months later, during the downturn of the economy, my employer informed me the location I worked at for 16 years was closing and I was losing my job. I was devastated. I was the only person earning income, and my husband was still recovering from his stroke. God always provides. He really does. We were born and raised as Catholics and were members of a small community Catholic church. The nuns were our next door neighbors. God knew we would need this support. The nuns provided us with gas money to go see my husband, who was in a rehabilitation center over 3 hours from home. And they provided us food from the food pantry to feed our family. Humbling, to say the least. Not too long after, our son was diagnosed with a chronic condition called Crohn's disease. This disease had caused so much damage to his colon. He had gotten down to 100 pounds, and then he had to have surgery to remove part of his colon at the age of 24. Again, we kept wondering why times were so tough. But we also knew we were blessed. We had a roof over our heads. My husband's health was improving, and we had 2 children that were a blessing that any parent would pray for. We had moved to Florida in 2011, and having been Catholics our entire life, we attended masses at many Catholic churches in the area. We were in need of a faith community like we had in New Hampshire. We were not happy at any of the churches as we had tried. Then one day, my husband mentioned he wanted to see what New Covenant United Methodist Church would be like. We believed something was telling us we needed this church in our lives. From the first service, we knew this is where we belonged. The people were so very welcoming, and Pastor Harold's message spoke to us in ways we didn't understand at the time. I was struggling with the loss of my mother, and it was like God was there to help me find my way again at New Covenant. Back to April 3rd. April 3rd, 2018 started out as any other day. I was at work in a meeting, working on a conversion project that was going live 2 weeks later. This project was a huge challenge for me, and we were almost at the finish line. My phone rang at 10:30 a.m., and it was my daughter telling me that our son had been in a car accident early in the morning and was in the ICU in Ocala. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed on my car ride to the hospital. We had code names to use. and had no idea where to go. It was scary. When we finally got to go to our son's hospital bedside, my world stopped for a bit. He was on a ventilator and unresponsive. He had been driving a friend's car and was going too fast on a back road. The car flipped over 5 times, and the driver's side slammed into a tree. The doctor informed us that our son had a traumatic brain injury, swelling on the brain, punctured and collapsed lung, broken neck, and other broken bones. The neurosurgeon met with my husband and I to let us know the grim prognosis of our son's future. He told us that if our son wakes up, don't miss the detail, as Pastor Harold always says. If he wakes up, he will have no quality of life. His brain injury was serious. This is where you have to have faith. The definition of faith, it's a noun. It means complete trust, belief without proof. Matthew 21:22 says, "And whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith." Our family, friends, and church were all there with us in prayer. Our son did wake up 5 days after his crash. It was difficult, but we do not walk through these things alone. God is with us. He hears us, and He is present with us. We went through trials in my son's recovery that I could never imagine. We were able to get him into an amazing rehab center in Jacksonville. They were able to get our son walking again and worked on his right hand coordination to get him able to use it again. The brain, well, that takes time to heal. He is young, and the brain can sometimes heal in ways that science cannot explain. When he got home, we still had to help our son shower and do normal daily tasks. But he is a determined person who worked hard to get himself better. A year after that terrible accident, our son was able to move himself to Colorado. He got an apartment and a job without any assistance. He is a miracle. Do you believe in the miracle of prayer and angels on earth? Our family does. God bless.